Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the DVMUG Tuesday afternoon coffee clutch for March 23rd, 2021. Today, we're going to have our usual get together, and we've got several things on tap. A late breaker, though, is that Apple today has released version 11 of Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. The Apple Store was supposed to have them today, but if you go to macrumors.com, they have a direct link for the upgrades to each of these that you can download to your Mac or your iOS devices. So it's probably worthwhile to try it out. I haven't been able to play too much with it, but they now have it set up so that you can watch your notes on Keynote while you're running it live. I haven't figured out how to do it yet, but we'll be doing it probably next week. Or yeah, we are going to have a meeting next week. So the other items on the agenda today is what is mission control and how is it used? Do you remember Mac Paint? Is there such a thing as a paint application for Apple anymore? How to recover iPhone and iPad data from a backup without the device's passcode. Yes, that's possible. And 10 things you can do with Apple Maps. Lots and lots of improvements there. Plus custom calendar alerts on your Mac. So that's what our program is for today, coupled with our famous questions and answers, where we try and stump the chumps. John Sobrero and I and Ann Griffin and our president, any of our knowledgeable members will all jump in at once and see what we can do to answer your questions. So moving right along to our questions and answers, if I can get this thing. In this the ever never-ending search for truth, here's some questions. One of them came about as a result of a etiquette story I saw in the paper the other day, and I sort of paraphrased it all. But given that we're emerging from the COVID crisis, I read the other day that it may be questionable etiquette to inquire of a person's vaccination status. And to our members, I post this question: do you agree with that? Because honestly, if we resurrect our clinic, I'm going to ask you if you've had your vaccinations, and if you haven't, you can't come. So what does everybody think about that? Is it etiquette to ask if people have been vaccinated?
It's a matter of life and death.
It's health etiquette. And so I don't know who's saying that it's not nice to do so, but I think they can go belong to some other group.
Well, this was in the, wasn't Ask Amy, it was Miss Manners, I think it was, in the newspaper. And it had nothing to do with Computer Club, but somebody, I think, wrote in and they were offended because they were asked such personal questions. And
well, people are getting offended about everything anymore. It's getting quite a nuisance.
One issue might be, how do you prove it? How do you prove you've been vaccinated?
How do you prove
that card?
Good question.
That card.
Oh yeah. Got the COVID card.
That card could be easily faked, though. You know.
But
yes, it can, because it's handwritten.
But weren't they?
We got a phone from the county.
I thought they were going to put some kind of a piece together that was like something you could carry on your phone for the airlines.
Yes, there's supposed to be something I read that's going to go in the Apple Wallet.
Yeah.
Microsoft is going to have an app, so that where you got it would officially send it to the app. It'll have a QR code on it, so like when you go to the Amazon locker, you hold it up and the locker pops open, you pick your package out, you don't touch anything.
We got just a full page, 2 pages each of documentation to show that we got the shots, one for each of the shots.
Well, I can see why somebody would be offended by that question if they get their health advice from Tucker Carlson. But
sure hope they get over it.
Well, Suzanne on the bulletin board posted a big long diatribe about this machine that keeps her safe and she's not getting the shot. Well,
They're
sorry,
right.
you aren't coming to the meetings. You can't come to the clinic.
If you flash
Can I
your
bring a
vaccination
machine?
card, you can flash your vaccination card at Krispy Kreme every day for the rest of 2021 and get a free
Get a
donut
shot
every
Yeah.
day.
John, let's buy a machine and we'll just keep it at the clinic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don
we ought to get a big
Nelson,
fly swatter.
do you want to give the warning about the lamination of the original card that your coworker did?
I'd be happy to. One of the things I'm sure you've heard a lot of people have been recommending that you laminate your shot card so that, you know, it doesn't get damaged with you carrying it around to all the places you're going to have to show it.
Right.
However, not all places handwrite your information on there. For example, I got mine done at the Alameda County Sheriff's Office. And what they did is they had a little sticker that had the lot number, the date, my name, and the name of the nurse for each of the 2 shots. So far, so good, until I run it through my laminator at work and I discover that that label is heat-based.
Oh, no.
Right there. You can see
Mine
that
is
right
dark.
there. Those, I got the 2 little, those are stickers. They're not handwritten. They're little stickers they peel off.
Mine is handwritten.
Yeah, a lot of them are handwritten. This has a lot number and the expiration date. They must peel them off the some stickers that come with the little bottles or something. So the recommendation we said is, okay, since it's a stupid size, it doesn't fit in your wallet.
Right.
You got to take a picture of it, shrink the picture and laminate the duplicate.
Mhm.
Well, what
Yeah.
happened to you, Don?
Well, mine just got dark, but fortunately I can still read it. However, my coworker who got her shot the same day that I did, her first sticker is completely black now. You can't read it at all.
Oh, boy. Thermal paper at its worst. That's too bad. So I think the
Take it.
answer generally is that people don't object to being asked about their vaccination status.
Yeah, no, they're happy to say that. I mean, just ask them on the phone. When did you get your second shot? Is it 2 weeks? Okay, I got it last week. Okay, you got to wait another 10 days before you just trust what they say.
Yeah, good.
You know,
Like
personally,
Pfizer.
I think with the stakes being what they are, I really don't care if somebody doesn't like it.
Right.
If you
Yeah,
belong
I'm
to
kind of
Kaiser,
with
you can.
you.
Mhm.
If you belong to
I'm gonna
Kaiser,
be
you can
polite.
print out an inoculation record, and it has an official seal on it
And where's that, Bill?
from Kaiser Permanente. I don't know.
Okay.
You can
Right,
see
I got my shots at the county, but I was able to go into
Yeah.
Kaiser and record the lot number of the vaccine and the date I got it, so it'll go on my record.
So
The only-
Great.
The only
people that are
problem with
gonna-
that is that it includes other inoculations, but
the
that's all
the
right.
people who are going to be
Wouldn't
really asking to lock this down is the airlines. If you want to travel out of the country, there's going to be some kind of official. You're not getting on this plane. I'm sorry, unless you show me your official document, like your passport or something.
I
They're
wouldn't
just gonna-
object even traveling within the country.
Yeah, between
It'd be a really
states,
good idea for
whatever.
us. It would be a really good idea for us all to scan our cards so that if
Keep
we
it-
lose the actual card or lose our wallet or something,
Put it in your
that we
photos on your
have-
phone.
that we have a copy of this CDC card, because I don't think we can replace this card. You might be able to get, because I was in my medical clinic and somebody said he had lost his card and he needed to go for a second vaccination and he couldn't get it without the card that showed the appointment, and they said there was nothing they could do for him.
Notes app, folks. It's on your phone, it's on your iPad.
That's a good idea too.
No,
And that's a
seems
better-
really odd. It's on my chart. It's on your
Right.
doctor's records. I mean, there are all kinds of other places where this is documented. Yes, we should all take photos of it and store it so
Mhm.
we have it. But I honestly think this is going to become your ticket into many.
Exactly.
places
There's
going
going to be a
Yeah,
QR
yeah, I
code.
think so
that-
too.
So when you go to a concert or something,
Yep.
you're gonna have to hold up your phone with the QR code to get through. They're just gonna zoom you
Right.
through. Ding, ding,
Right.
ding, ding, ding.
But people are getting on planes now without having vaccinations. They just have
Yeah.
to have a negative test.
Mhm.
Incidentally, Julie, thanks for recommending DVMUG to your friend in Orinda who joined.
Oh, Amy?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yay! I was just talking to her this morning. I was telling her about all the benefits. She wanted to know where I was learning all these tricks that I was sharing with her.
Ah,
I
good.
told
Yeah,
her
she
it was
joined.
well worth it.
Yeah, good. So there was next question. There was a brief mention of using flags in Apple Mail. I think this was Margie's question. How is that done, as they are not available in the default mode under Big Sur? Now,
That's correct. You have to turn on
Yeah.
the columns. I can show that if you
Yeah.
want. I've showed that in the past.
can you do that, because it's hard for me to get out of this and then into my screen? So why don't
Okay,
you
you gotta
show her
stop-
where it's
You gotta
available?
stop your share
Oh, okay. Well then,
because I gotta share.
and again, I don't have a mouse. That happens if I hit return.
Hit escape. See what that happens. That should take you out of full screen.
Yeah, no, that didn't. There we go. That got out of it. Now stop share. There you go.
Okay, I'll share my screen. So Marjorie here?
I thought I saw her sign in. Marjorie, are you here?
Hear me? I'm here.
Marjorie Felton?
Okay,
There she is.
so this is what I call, you want it in columns like this, correct? Is that what you're saying? Because you can
She wants to
see,
see the flag. She wants
well,
to
I
see the
have
flag.
flags turned off, but I
Yeah.
could turn them on if I control click or right mouse click in one of these columns. It's control, and let's see if this, see, and you get
There
this
you go.
list. Everything that has a check mark appears in a column. Everything that doesn't appear, and you can turn any of them on and off. So I can turn on flags, and now I
flag
have,
something so she can see it.
I don't know where the flags might have went off to the right.
Just right click on any message. Or up in your bar. Yeah, down at the bottom. No, the bottom of that drop
Message,
down. No,
flag.
no, click on a
orange.
message.
I just flagged that message orange. I don't
Yeah.
know where it went. It's probably off to the right over here because my screen's not big
No,
enough.
it shouldn't be.
The
Somewhere
flag column is the first
First
column.
column on the
Yes,
on the
okay.
left.
All right, it didn't show. Okay, that's that column there. So I can say message, flag it red. There it is.
There it is.
Okay. So if you're used to using mail, see it says use column layout. If you turn that off, this is what I call the iPad mode. This looks like your
Yeah, I
phone and your
hate
iPad.
that.
I can't use mail like this. I don't know about you.
Me
You don't
neither.
see the columns. So if you want to see columns, you say use column layout. Then when you're in column layout, you can turn any columns on or off that you want. You can move the columns around in the order. You can resize the columns. But be advised, if you use Catalina, none of this works. You cannot turn on and off columns. You cannot resize columns. You cannot move columns. It's basically, to
But
me,
flags
unusable.
work. But
Yeah, but you can't
in
know-
Catalina, the flags are on by default.
Okay, but you can't turn columns on and off. You can't resize columns. You can't move columns. So
I
they
think it's
broke
called
that in
Old
Catalina,
View
and
or
people
something.
screamed about it, and they fixed it in Big Sur.
Wasn't
figure.
in Catalina, wasn't it referred to as Old View or something like that?
No, before Catalina in High Sierra, you didn't do view columns. You went to preferences,
Oh, Classic View.
and in preferences under viewing, there was a checkbox that says use. This was called use classic view.
Yeah.
Now they call it columns, and you do it from here. So it's kind of confusing, but any email program that I've ever used, going back to OS 9, always had columns and resizable and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden in Catalina, what? I can't move this stuff? People were screaming. So anyway, that's the deal. So if I don't want that flag column anymore, I can control or right click on one of the columns and say, I'm going to turn off that flag column. It disappears. The message is still
John,
flagged, but you don't see
John,
it.
you're missing an important thing. Go back and reflag that message.
It's still flagged. I turned off the column. I didn't
Yeah, well,
unflag it.
Turn it back on for a second. There's something else you can show these folks.
I want to turn back on the flag column.
Flags. Yeah. Okay. Now let's say that you have completed looking at that new text message, and you just want to get rid of that one flag. So if you go to that message and go to the flag and right click on it, right click on the flag. Okay, yeah, go down to the X in the drop down column. Go down to the X under
But no
flag.
flag. Yeah.
And that will turn off the flag. So you can still flag other important messages and use the different colors for different levels of importance.
Okay, I'm using your laptop and I don't have a mouse. So how do I do a right click on the pad?
Control click.
Control click or a 2-finger click, whichever you've got set up.
Press on the control key.
Okay, thank you.
Control key, and then click, and that's right mouse click.
Now, under system preferences, under mouse, you can set it so you don't have to use the control. You can use 2 fingers, which would be the equivalent of a right click. There's all kinds of choices in there under your trackpad.
Gary, MacMost has a 5-minute video on control click, right mouse click. 5-minute video on all the things about it. So you might go there and take a look.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm done sharing. Lee has something that I can probably answer while I'm here.
Lee's
He wanted to
question was
know
how to limit the time that a Google search will do. In other words, how to stop going back beyond 1 or 2 years. He only wants recent stuff.
Okay, so I'll go to Google and I'll search for DVMUG. Okay, under tools.
Yeah, tools.
You click tools and you get this this here, and you can say anytime, past hour. This is your choices, or you can do a custom range. That's your choices. That's under tools. And if you're in
that, that's good.
And if you're in images, I do this all the time. If you're in images and you do tools, you get more stuff. You can search by size of images, color, types, time, usage rights. So you can limit it by all kinds. If you just want like only large images, you can only see large images. Or you want just icons, you can see just icons.
Before you lose that screen, John, people may not know that if they have a picture, say, of some obscure object and they wonder what it is, that they can drag it into Google and it will identify it for them.
Okay, so you can also do a similar thing with videos, tools, any duration, any time, any quality, any source. So you get different choices: quality, high quality, time, how long they are. So that tools button is always available. Okay.
John,
there's another pretty easy way to do it.
Does it matter what operating system you're using?
Say again?
Does it matter what operating system you're using?
No, this is a web page.
Okay.
Excuse me, where do you drag the image for identifying it? Into the image?
The search box. Into the search box.
Search box, thank you.
There is one other easy way to do it.
Okay.
I just now have an image on my desktop. And if I drag this image into the search box, oh, let's see, there's an image. Drag it in there, search. Well, that's the DVMUG logo I dragged in there. That didn't search very well. Maybe I have to search something like a bicycle or something.
What about if you
a
click the
hammer
camera button?
or a pipe wrench or a strap wrench?
I always do it from Google Images.
Oh, there's a dog. Why that comes up with DV? Oh, because of the typo. Well, let's try a dog. Okay, get that out. I'll drag the dog in there. That didn't work too well.
What if you click the camera button instead of the search button?
Huh?
What if you click on the camera icon instead of the
Search by
icon?
image, paste in
Yeah.
URL, upload an image.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you have to push upload file, or can I drag this in there? There, choose file.
Drag it in.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. Oh, there's the dogs. Okay, you get the idea.
Debbie has her hand up.
I'll stop sharing it.
There. Oh, did I unmute myself?
Yes, and turn on your video too.
Yeah.
I don't know how to turn my video on again. Oh, undo that right there. Okay, just a second. Sorry. That's because I'm, well, it keeps coming over, rename it. Oh, I don't know.
On the bottom left of the Zoom bar, there's a slash through video. You uncheck that.
Oh,
Just
yeah, I
click
can
on it.
see it, but every time, oh, there I go. Oh, that's host. Wait just a second. What happened to my name? Oh, well, it's really not that important. I mean, there, I keep getting more every time I do that. There. I don't know why I can't get video up. I see the line, I've got mute off, but the red line for the video, I can't, every time I go out there, it says more. But can I just say what I wanted to share?
Just click on the icon with the slash. Just click on
Yeah,
it.
I know, but every time I go up there, it says mute or more. Oh, wait, let me just hit more. No, I don't want to rename it.
No,
There.
it.
Mute would be for
bottom left.
sound.
Bottom
Mute would be
left.
for sound.
No, you can hear me. I know that.
I know.
But I mean, I'm trying to do the video.
He's explaining to you what you're doing, Debbie. Let him finish.
All right.
Okay,
Go ahead,
John,
John.
tell her what to do.
You should be able to tap on the icon with the slash through it in
Yeah.
video. Just
Yes,
you're-
but she
so
may
you're
not
click-
have, she may have changed the camera or turned the camera off.
No, what it is that she's clicking in the participants menu
That's
or in her
correct.
own photo. And you don't do it there, you do it down in the bottom left where it says
Yeah.
start video.
Oh, I thought that was for, when you're really actually
There.
recording. Oh, sorry. So sorry.
Also, you can hit Command Shift V.
Oh, I'll write that down. Command Shift B.
go ahead with your
Okay.
question.
Well, I was just going to say that, I'm on Catalina still. My computer is a MacBook Air, and I just wanted to share this again. That, and the reason I haven't gone past Catalina is because of the printer that I have, which is a 450 NV HP. And when I called Apple, I couldn't get it to print. And all of a sudden it wouldn't print. And I had rebooted it and restarted it, and then it wouldn't print. And then I have to call Apple up, and then, I guess you get a first level person. They don't know what you're talking about. So I said, can I speak to the supervisor? The supervisor knew exactly what I was talking about, that, apparently Catalina and HP, there's some problem. And past Catalina, you cannot print on that HP printer, I guess. And so that I was just going to share that in case that happens to anybody else, but I know most of you are way above my level.
It's so sad. HP used to be so preeminent as far as printers went. And then they just really fell down. And to the point that I think they were ready to give up the printer business a couple of years ago. And because they couldn't get out of the hole, and they purchased Samsung printer division. And so I think they've just abandoned all their old HP stuff and they're moving forward with the Samsung now HP printers. At this point, it's a real shame because HP just they blew it. They used to be the leader.
They've never been
Well, their
known for keeping
version
up
is
with
that-
drivers.
Well, I remember when the old desk writer came out and people waited in line for those for weeks and weeks and weeks back in the early 90s. And they were $700 for the first inkjet printer and they were selling like hotcakes. And I know that because I was selling them.
Oh, well, the only other question I have, if I go and get a MacBook Air, you know, again, I buy a new one, because this is a 2014, I'm getting pretty full, you know, I'll get more space and all that. Nothing's going wrong with this computer yet, but then I have to get a new printer, I guess.
Is this a high-end printer or was this just, what is this?
No,
printer?
no, MV, you know, 4500 is like $130 when I bought it.
Just get a new one.
Why not?
Well,
Go spend $90 for a new brother.
Printers
Oh,
are
and just
very
keep
hard to
my-
get these days,
Well, I'm afraid this is
especially
getting
laser
more.
printers. So
I'm very happy. I've got an
There's a huge
OfficeJet
shortage of
Pro
Hold on, one at a
8600
time,
that I'm
people.
very happy
You can't
with.
all talk at once. Can't all talk at once.
Okay,
One at a time.
Well, there's a lot of difficulty buying printers these days, especially laser printers. There's a huge shortage.
Oh.
Oh, I was
Okay.
going to suggest you go out and get a $99 brother laser printer. Those things just won't die. They're just great. And the
If you can
toner is
find them.
cheap and it lasts forever. But I didn't know there was a shortage on them.
Oh, yeah, look on Brothers' website, try Amazon, B&H and all of that. Everything's back ordered.
How
Why
about
is that?
Staples?
Staples, Office Depot, all of them.
Okay,
I
but
had
it's,
somebody buy a brother laser from Amazon a month ago and it's no problem.
yeah, but you're on
The prices
your
are way
level
up
and you're
too.
a software.
They're
Then
getting a premium.
I'll be darned.
well, thank you.
I'm not convinced that your HP printer will not work. They had lots of problems with these drivers that weren't signed and it said, sorry, you can't use this. You really should throw away the HP software and uninstall any HP additional software you have with an app cleaner. And then you just delete your printer. And when you re-add it, it'll say, do you want to download the HP software from Apple, not from HP? And it may work.
Oh,
Also,
I'm looking at,
too advanced for me.
Well, Debbie, is this a laser printer?
No,
Oh, okay, because some of the laser printers you can use a generic driver.
no.
I'm
when I
looking
work-
at Amazon. I'm looking at Amazon on my iPad right now.
Mhm.
And the Brother HL2300D laser printer with duplex printing is available at $97.40, free delivery for Prime members.
Hmm.
So if I did that, then I could go up in the software. I could get off of Catalina and go up to Sierra or whatever it
Sure.
is now.
Yes.
You don't have
Okay.
to. I'm not sure, but I think that's also a wireless printer. You can put it in another room and still print, or you can print from your phone or your iPad, any of those things.
I
Has
think
to have
mine
a
is wireless.
W in its designation to wireless.
Mm. Well, thank
What
you.
about virus?
Abby, I
What,
bought,
what about a virus? Somebody
Abby,
said
I have
something.
an old HP NB. Mine's old and it works with the newest. I'm on.
I'm not convinced that it wouldn't work if you just uninstalled it.
I
Yeah.
have an
Yeah.
HP. I have an HP printer too, and I had that problem, and I'm certainly no genius, nothing like. And it showed me on the screen exactly how to do it. I did whatever it did, and my printer works just fine. And I'm on the newest iOS 14. And I have an Apple Mac MacBook Air, same years as hers, and
Oh.
14.
Well,
Yeah,
it took
just,
Apple
Debbie, go-
35 minutes to get it to work.
Yeah, well, I didn't even go to Apple. I just, it showed me on the screen. It wasn't even an Apple thing.
Oh,
This is not an
I
Apple.
I have not had any satisfaction. The few times I've called Apple, it wasn't worth my time or energy.
It's not an
Really?
Apple product. They have no responsibility for this. It's an HP problem.
HP won't deal with it. They said that Apple
No.
didn't pay, or they were supposed to pay for the software. That's their reasoning.
All this is bullshit.
Yeah.
All I want is my printer to work.
HP did not update the certificate and they got deauthorized and Apple never fixed it. You just have to uninstall the HP software. It will say
Okay.
there's no software. Would you like to download it from Apple? And
Yeah.
it will probably work.
Okay, thank you.
There was this in the MailChimp
now,
and on the BBS, and we did this once in a Zoom meeting, walking somebody through all this
I remember that.
stuff.
That's
Yeah.
why I know that this is true.
So
That's
Debbie,
why-
in
that's what I
order
said
to do
Apple.
this,
Mhm.
if you'd like to know how to do it, go to System Preferences, select
Okay.
Printers and Scanners,
Uh-huh.
and a window will open up and it'll show you your printer in
That's
that
right.
window. Down at the bottom of the window on the left-hand side is a plus and a minus.
Okay.
Highlight your printer and click the minus. That will delete the printer.
Okay.
After that's done, then click the plus. And
All
it'll
right.
say, it'll then take you to Apple to download the new software from Apple.
Okay,
for
so
it.
there's a step in there you're missing, Rick.
Sorry.
If she has the crummy HP software installed from years ago that has HP Gallery and all
yeah.
that stuff from the CD, you got to
Yeah.
go into the library at the root level of the computer and go into printers and throw the HP folder away. So it doesn't find any HP software, then it'll ask you to download it from Apple. Otherwise, it'll just try to use the HP software again. And that's the one that's not signed, and Apple says, sorry, this is an unauthorized piece of software. You may not have that particular problem, but that's what I do is nuke it all. Even if you have any in your applications folder, if you have an HP folder, you will probably have junk in there that they put in there. So if you use App Cleaner, the free piece of software, you can drag those onto App Cleaner and it will go in the system and get that crap out of there too.
Okay, thank
That
you.
usually works.
HP App Cleaner.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's go, let's go.
I'm
There
on
we
the
go.
I'm on the HP software download page right now.
Don't even go
And
there.
I'm seeing that the HP software that they show there is compatible with Big Sur.
Don't download anything from HP. It's crapware.
I've had no problems with HP software.
You don't need it. You'd never need to get any software from any printer manufacturer of
Right.
major manufacturers. It all is supplied and updated by Apple.
Yeah, but that doesn't get me all the functionality of the multifunction.
It doesn't give you all the crapware. It has
That's
the
true.
scanner is built. Apple drivers have the scanner software built into the printer driver. You open your printer, system preferences, printers, select your printer, and if you have a scanner function, there'll be a scanner tab. You push that, it opens image capture. That's built into the system. It just works. Trust me.
Or you can just open image capture.
Or you can just open, do not install any printer crapware. It's not supported, it's not updated, it's just junk.
That hasn't been my experience. It's worked perfectly well for me.
If you want to, you're welcome to, but I'm telling you, they won't update it and they won't support it. It's just not good stuff. Never
Someone
was.
asked us to move on.
Yeah.
Didn't everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. From time to time, it may come to pass that you find that you need to recover data from a cell phone, and when you can't remember or are not in possession of the passcode. And assuming that the cell phone or iOS device has been backed up to the Mac and to the iCloud, there's a good chance that you can recover it. Because as you know, on the phone, if you keep trying to use a passcode, pretty soon you're going to get locked out. But the backup, interestingly enough, is not nearly as secure as the instrument itself. So it's possible that when it was backed up to the computer, a separate password was created for the backup. In my case, I used the same password for my backup as I used for my computer, which is a 4-digit combination of letters and numbers. And there is no penalty for you trying to, for lack of a better word, hack the password. There's no limit to the number of times that you can actually try and find the password. If you're successful in that, you'll be able to get in there, and then you'll be advised that is it okay to trust the computer? So you'll select the device in the sidebar, or in older systems, you'll open iTunes, and then you can select restore, and you can choose a timestamp backup from the list that will appear. Well, let's say that you couldn't find the password by running through any list that somebody left you or whatever. But if you know the password to the computer, you can get into the keychain and by using the computer's password, and you can look through the keychain, which will probably be a mass of old passwords and old logins for God knows how many places, but you may be able to find the password for that. If the list, once you've gotten in, if the list has a lock, it's encrypted. At that point, you're going to play around with the password. So these processes may help you recover the data. So it is possible to recover data, but you're going to have to be a little adventurous. One of the very reasons that somebody might want to do all that is that the owner may have passed away. And if Apple knows that the person passed away, if they've been notified, Apple does not acknowledge survivors. And I've been told, but I, of course, haven't found out the hard way yet, but I've been told that Apple will also delete a person's account who is verified as deceased. So all I can say is good luck. And you can try those various things. And this keynote will be posted in PDF format. And of course, the meeting itself is recorded and it'll be available for your later inspection at your leisure. So you don't have to take notes during this thing.
I have several friends that are ghosts now. I mean, literally, they've already passed a year, 2, 3 years ago, and they're still on Facebook. They're not active very much.
Well, I just learned, I just learned yesterday that my dear sweet first college girlfriend passed away, and she still has a Facebook page. And I told her daughter, I'm sorry, I don't do Facebook. She said, well, you should. There's stuff in there about you and her. So
what Facebook has a feature when somebody passes that the survivors can take control of the page and memorialize it. So you can't post to it, but you can see the old stuff.
I've seen that before where it's like, you know, in memory of or something.
Right. They freeze it. And if you want to recover stuff from an old iPhone or iPad backup that you did to your computer, there's 2 pieces of software that you can look inside those backups. One of them is called iMazing, and the other one's iExplorer. iMazing seems to be iMazing seems like
is
it's rave
45
reviews. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, well, that you can use them for free to look and see if what's in there is something that you want. But if you want to retrieve it, then you can go ahead and pay. But it looks inside the entire backup, including your messages and the images in the messages and all that stuff, your phone calls, everything that you regularly can't see in your phone. It has the archive of everything, and you can pick at it and you can say, okay, retrieve this message or retrieve these photos or retrieve these phone calls or all that stuff.
Yeah, if it involves somebody who died and there's some critical information there, it'd be worth the $45 to buy iMazing.
Some people keep their messages as like that's their diary or something. They keep everything in there, and then it's like, I want to do this, I want to upgrade. No, I can't lose my messages. All my stuff's in there, you know. It's like they're free. I've seen people freak out about their messages because they don't want to lose their data, and it's not designed to like save your stuff. That's really its purpose. It's in there, but it's not easy to get at and like archive it and save it and stuff. But this program iMazing is made to do that.
Anybody else have
Okay.
any questions? Okay, moving along. Mission control. I think this is one of the most misunderstood features in the Mac. And I have to confess, I don't use it that much myself, but it's really so very, very useful. There used to be three things that Apple had, was dashboard, spaces, and expose. They've all been combined into mission control. Mission control's main task, one might say, is to declutter your desktop, even if dozens of applications are open. And that's a nice thing. There are 6 key tasks of mission control. 1, to view all open windows and display them as thumbnails, or you can view all windows of a specific application. You can hide all windows and display the desktop. You can manage windows across multiple monitors. This allows windows to be moved to a separate display. And that also works on Sidecar with an iPad in your Mac. You can manage apps and windows across multiple virtual desktops. So you can create, literally, you can create more than one desktop on your one computer screen. And you can manage dashboard widgets. So now earlier, somebody said, how do you right click with a trackpad? Well, there's more than that now. If you're using 2 applications, you can use Command Tab, and that will tab you through the various applications. But in order to access mission control, if you've set up your trackpad, you can use a 4-finger swipe. Swipe up with 4 fingers to open mission control, or you can, on the mouse, you can set it up to double tap with 2 fingers to open mission control. That will not be there by default. You'd have to set that up under either in system preferences under trackpad or under mouse. Multiples, gee, I apologize for the grammar. It should be multiples are better handled through mission control. You can open that with F3, or you can swipe up with your mouse with 3 fingers, or use the magic mouse with 2 fingers, or choose the icon in the dock. So let's see what Gary has to say about this, okay?
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Today, let me show you how to use Mission Control on your Mac. MacMost is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 900 supporters. Go to MacMost.com/Patreon. There you can read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. Now when using your Mac, you may have your screen crowded with lots of different apps and lots of different windows. This is especially problematic if you're on a MacBook where the screens are smaller than if you're using an iMac. So for instance, your screen may look like this. Here I've got Calculator, Calendar, Mail, Pages, and Safari, and I'm trying to use them all at once. I have to constantly move windows in front of or behind other windows, shrink and enlarge windows to get my work done. But you can use Mission Control to make things better. What Mission Control does is it gives you multiple desktops. So what we see here is one desktop with all of these different windows on it. But we can use another desktop and put some of these windows there. It's kind of like having multiple screens on your Mac, but instead of having multiple physical displays, you've got multiple screens that you can switch to on your one display. So to activate Mission Control, you can use Control and up arrow, or on many Macs you've got a Mission Control shortcut as the F3 key. So either press F3 or hold the FN key down and press F3. This brings up Mission Control, and you can see the first thing it does is it takes all the windows and moves them apart so you can see exactly what you've got. Then at the top it shows you have one desktop. If you move your cursor there, it will expand and show you exactly what that desktop looks like. Now we could add a second desktop using the plus button here on the right. If I click that, now I have desktop 1 and desktop 2. And desktop 2 you can see is empty. So let's move some of these windows there. For instance, let's move calendar there and maybe also mail, leaving pages, Safari, and calculator all on desktop 1. Now let's go to one of these desktops. You can do that by simply clicking on that desktop. Now you can see I just have those three apps there. Things are a little less cluttered. I can go back to Mission Control the same way and click on the second desktop to go to it. I could also use keyboard shortcuts to quickly switch between desktops. So Control and left and right arrows go between the two desktops. So Control left arrow takes me to the first one. Control right arrow takes me back to the second. If you have a MacBook or an Apple trackpad, you can also use a gesture to do this. Use 4 fingers on the trackpad and swipe left or right to quickly move between desktops. There's a setting for this in System Preferences, Trackpad under More Gestures. So you can see it here and you can customize it. Now you can continue to add more desktops. So you can go back into Mission Control and add a third desktop. So now that's empty, but I can move something to it like I did before. Or I could simply drag something to it. So let's move this Pages window to that third desktop. While I'm dragging it, I've got the mouse or trackpad clicked and held down. I can use Control and right arrow to switch to the third desktop and drop the window there. So now I've got 3 desktops and I can move the windows around on each one of those. In Mission Control I can move the desktops around, so rearrange them into any order I want. I could add new ones, and notice that I have this little X button when I move over one of the desktops. If I close a desktop, it will close and that window will return to the desktop it was previously. So you can really think of this like you've got 2 different screens on your Mac and you can just switch between them very easily. Now people use this in different ways. Sometimes they'll just use a second desktop to get some windows out of the way and concentrate on something on the other desktop. Other times they'll make each desktop specific to a task they're doing. So for instance you may have Pages, Notes, and a Safari window all on one desktop because you're writing a paper and doing research at the same time. And then another window may have Reminders, Mail, and Calendar because that's the desktop you go to check your email, schedule events, see what's going on. Now in addition to having desktops like this that have windows on them, there are 2 other types of desktops. One is for a full screen app. So for instance with Safari here, if I want to take Safari full screen, I can do that by clicking the green button or hovering over the green button and clicking Enter Full Screen. And this takes Safari full screen. The menu bar is gone, but I could get it back by moving my cursor up there. The dock is gone, but I could move my cursor down there to see that as well. If I look now in Mission Control, I could see I've got desktop 1 and desktop 2, but I have a desktop that's just called Safari and it's showing Safari full screen. And I can arrange this desktop just like the others. So full screen apps take up an entire desktop of their own. The third type of desktop you can have is a split view desktop. It's the same thing as full screen except 2 apps instead of 1. So I can move my cursor over the green button here, say tile the window to the left, then select another window to be the right. And now you can see how this is split view. It's like full screen but an app on the left and an app on the right. And if I look in Mission Control you can see that's represented as another desktop and it's called Mail and Calendar. So with 4 desktops I can still use Control and left and right arrows to move between all of them, or the 4 fingers on the trackpad gesture. There are some settings for mission control in System Preferences under Mission Control. So for instance, you can have the desktops, also called spaces, automatically rearrange themselves according to the most recent use. You have some other options here as well, and you have control over the keyboard shortcuts. So while I was using Control and up arrow, you can actually set it to a variety of different things here, including even using some of the modifier keys you may not normally use, like right shift or right command, to trigger mission control. Also, a lot of people like to use hot corners to trigger mission control. So you can go and set the lower left hand corner, for instance, to trigger mission control. So when I move my cursor down to the bottom left hand corner of the screen, mission control appears. So if you haven't been using mission control, give it a try, especially if you're using a MacBook. It really opens up a whole new world of being able to arrange your applications like you want and be more productive. And it's perfectly normal to sometimes use mission control and other times not. For instance, you may decide to create a second desktop or space when you want to work on something and just concentrate on 1, 2, or 3 apps and have all of the rest of your apps on the other desktop. But when you're not trying to concentrate on something, have everything just on one desktop and not be using mission control. It's up to you how you want to use it. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.
This is the kitchen where the new boyfriend will unofficially become family. These are the Verbo vacation homes waiting for your family.
Got an ad or something running there.
Something's haywire here.
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help. This sentence is grammatically correct,
Okay, I'm gonna
but
stop
it's
sharing.
wordy and
That's an ad.
Yeah, and I don't want it.
They had a deal. If you subscribe to YouTube Premium, you don't see the ads, and they had a deal for free for 3 months. You can sign up for. I think it was through Best Buy or something.
What the heck? Okay. Apparently I had Safari running in the background and it messed me up a bit. So let's go back to Keynote. Go to the 23rd and find our spot. And run it. I'm still sharing my screen, right?
No.
Or not?
No.
No?
No, not right now.
Okay. So let's go back to share screen. This is weird. I have no mouse showing.
You're on, Rick.
Yeah, I know. I'm on, but my mouse has disappeared. My cursor.
You're invoking Siri right now.
Okay, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit Siri. I've got no.
I'm sorry.
I've got no mouse.
The cat ate it.
Yeah.
We see a mouse
Yeah,
movement.
I've got a mouse. I've got a mouse back now. Back to meeting. Okay, go back to my app. Go to Keynote. Can you see that now? Have you tried Apple Maps?
Yes.
This is here.
Huh. Finally. It's very exasperating because my mouse disappears when I have Keynote running. So anyway, there's lots of new things in Apple Maps. And I'm hoping without a mouse here, I can get
Hi, this is Gary with
Gary to
MacMost.com.
tell us about
Today,
it.
let me show you some things you may not know that you can do in the Maps app on your Mac. MacMost is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 900 supporters. Go to macmost.com/Patreon. There you can read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So the Maps app has been around on the Mac for a while now, and it's accumulated a lot of cool, interesting features. First, here are some things you probably know that you can do, but not everybody does. You can switch views. You've got the regular map view that looks like this, but you can click here and then switch to transit lines, which will show you transit lines instead of the highways. What you get, of course, depends on your location. So here in Denver, we see all the light rail lines. In other cities, you may see subways, bus lines, things like that. You also have satellite view, and this will give you satellite imagery instead of just all the streets. And if you zoom in using the plus button here at the bottom right, the satellite view is pretty detailed. Now on top of all of that, you can switch to 3D view here. Click that and everything goes into 3D. Now let's go back to the default view, and you can see buildings here are represented by little 3D models. You'll find this more commonly in big cities, but it's slowly spreading to just about everywhere. It's particularly good in downtown areas like this. Now you can rotate using the little compass control here at the bottom. Just click it and drag up or down to rotate around. And if you switch to satellite view, it's going to use a satellite imagery on top of the 3D models. So now you get this real 3D image of a downtown area. And you can zoom in pretty far. It's really great for getting to know an area before you go to visit it. You can also use this control here on the right to adjust the angle of the 3D view. Now to zoom in and zoom out on any view, you can use the plus and minus buttons here. But you also can go here to the scale and click and drag right or left. So this allows you to kind of scroll to change the scale. Now if you want to find a location, you can click on the sidebar button here and you can search for the location. But you could also use longitude and latitude if you like. So for instance, you can search for a longitude and latitude like this, and it'll take you to a particular spot and show you what's there. You can use two numbers separated by a comma, but you can also use other formats as well. So for instance, looking up on Google the longitude and latitude for a landmark, I can copy that. And if I were to paste that in, formatted just like that, it will find that location. So here we've got Stonehenge, and yes, Stonehenge is actually there in 3D, either with models or using satellite imagery. Also note that anytime you're looking at place information, you should also see longitude and latitude there, so you can get those values as well as use them in a search. You can't copy and paste from here, but you can go and copy a location, and if you paste that location, if you notice, you'll get the longitude and latitude in the URL. Now the app itself actually has some features a lot of people don't use. One is to use multiple windows. So I can create a new window and have a second, third, fourth Maps window open all at the same time. But I could also use tabs. So I could have multiple maps in multiple tabs, which really helps trip planning and things like that. When you're looking at street names, sometimes they can appear a bit too small. So you can go to Maps Preferences, and there's an option for larger labels, which will increase the size of the street names. Also notice the control here for always use light map appearance. We see light map appearance now because I'm in light mode. But if I go into System Preferences and then switch to dark mode, you can see Maps looks pretty good in dark mode as well. Now you may have also noticed in Preferences here there's weather conditions and air quality. So if you have those both turned on, you'll see weather and air quality at the bottom left. The cool thing about that is it'll change automatically as you move. So here I am down in the city, but if I move up into the mountains, you can see the temperature dropping, the air quality improving. And you can click on either the weather or air quality and it will take you to a website that will give you detailed information like the forecast. And here's for air quality. Note that you won't see weather and air quality if you zoom too far out because eventually you've got too large of an area and it can't give you a temperature for this entire range. And there may be places where there simply isn't temperature or air quality reported. Now if you want to save a copy of the map you're looking at in a standard format, You don't have to screenshot it or anything like that. You can actually go to File, Print, and then instead of printing, you can use the PDF button here to save as a PDF directly or open up in Preview. And then when in Preview, you can use the markup tools here and be able to draw things, add arrows and things like that to the PDF. To get directions, click this button here and then you can type a from location and a to location. Or you could start off with a location by clicking here and then you can click directions. You can see it includes that place there. You just need to fill in the other one and it will give you various directions and you can click to select the route that you want. You could also switch between driving directions, walking directions, public transit directions, or biking directions. And biking directions, just like transit, are only going to be available in some locations. There are options for each one of these. So for instance, for driving, you can select avoid tolls, avoid highways. For public transportation, you can select what types of transportation you're willing to take. And you also have defaults for these in Preferences under Route Planner. When you have a route plan like that and you go to File, Print, it will actually print out the different steps of that route. So you can see the printout or PDF that you might export is going to look something like this with a little map for each step of the way. A fairly new addition to maps on the Mac is Look Around. If you click and hold to select a spot on a street, usually in one of the major cities, you could see Look Around here. There's also a button in the upper right hand corner there. Click Look Around and it will give you this great view that you can use the mouse to click and drag and look around a 360-degree view of that location. You could also use the trackpad with 2 fingers to zoom in and out on the image. The images are pretty high quality. And you can use this to take a drive. So if you see the road ahead of you, just double click on a spot on the road and you move forward. So you can basically drive a route virtually before doing it in real life. There's also a picture-in-picture mode for Look Around. Click here and now Look Around is in a little box here. And now you can see the binoculars showing you where you are, and as you move around it'll show you there. You could also click and drag to move the binoculars to another spot. But what about the information that's on the map? If you find a location you can click on it and you'll get all sorts of information about it. If you find some information is wrong, you can scroll to the bottom and there's Report an Issue. Click that and it allows you to adjust the location and send information about what could be wrong and submit that to Apple. And presumably somebody reviews that and implements a change if it makes sense. You can also add a missing place. If you click and hold at a spot, it'll add a marked location. At the bottom you can click and add a missing place and make your suggestion. So as you can see, over the years the Maps app on the Mac has become a very feature-filled and capable application. There's still some ways to go though. For instance, I'd love it in the future if you could have a way to have a route with multiple stops. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.
One of the nice things about this particular map program is the look around. I'm trying to get out of this thing here. I don't know how many of you have ever played around with maps, but the look around is good. Siri, open maps. We have some friends that moved to Downers Grove, Illinois, and they happen to have some pretty good detail.
I'm on Catalina and I couldn't seem to find the look around feature.
No, I don't think that it will work for you on Catalina. I think it's going to be Big Sur. Now, here we are at Downers Grove, Illinois. This is where my friends moved.
You're not sharing your screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Downers Grove, Illinois. And we can look at it in 3D, or we can go to look around. And the beauty of this is, here, let's go here. As he pointed out, the detail is quite good, but you can just go wherever you wish to go and take a look and see what's going on in this lovely little town. And let's say I want to turn the corner here. And there's it's just amazing. I can go on further down here by clicking the mouse further. I could take a look right here at this place on the corner. There's an Irish restaurant, the Ballydoyle. This, and incidentally, this looks like a bicyclist's paradise in this particular town because there's no hills whatsoever. But you get the idea here of what you can see by just using the look around feature. And then of course the three-dimensional feature here tells you, identifies all of the places in town. And it's just really a wonderful feature. I think is in some ways even better than Google. So I think that's worthwhile.
The iOS version is really easy to navigate around and much easier than Street View and Google Maps.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree. It's really quite a nice little feature. Okay, so let's go back here and finish. Anybody else got any comments on maps? Okay, let's talk about setting up custom calendar alerts on your Mac. You may or may not find this of use, but it's one of those obscure things that you can do. And if you rely on the calendar, it may be of some interest to you. Let's just get right into it and see what Gary's got to say, which I have to say, Gary is an amazing guy. This guy puts out so many of these things every week, week after week after week.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Today, let's look at adding custom events in the Mac Calendar app. MacMost is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 800 supporters. Go to MacMost.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So usually when you use the Calendar app on a Mac, if you want to set an alert, you get a little notification telling you either at the time of the event or maybe 15 minutes or a day before that the event is coming up. But a lot of people don't know that you can have more than one notification. So you can get one 15 minutes before, an hour before, and a day before if you like. Plus you can have special alerts like having an email sent to you or even opening a file or app. So let's create a new event here in the Calendar app. Just going to double click here on today's date, name it, and I can set an alert by clicking right where it says Add Alert. Now here's also where I can set the start and end time for an event, but also I have a checkbox for all day. When I check that, there is no time. It just has a range from one day to another. Now here is where I set the alert. So I could click here and choose one of the default options, 5, 10, 15 minutes before, or some other amounts of time before as well. But if none of those fit what I want, I could choose Custom. And now with Custom, I could set it to be an exact number of minutes before, or hours or days before, or even minutes after, hours after, or days after the event. I can also set it for exactly at the time of the event. This is really useful if you've just set the event to remind yourself of something. You don't need any prep time to be able to get ready for a phone call or travel to a meeting. You also have the ability to set on date. So instead of having it relative to the event start time, On date allows you to choose any date and any time. For instance, for a trip you may want to check hotel and flight arrangements at a certain time on a certain day, and it's easier just to set it this way. Now you could set multiple reminders. There's no problem with choosing an alert, say 5 minutes before, but then if you move your cursor here you can see there's a plus button. Click that. Now you can add a second alert. So you can set an alert for half hour before. You can even add more than that. So you can set an alert for, say, 1 day before. You get all of these notifications for this single event. To remove any of these, select it and choose none. If you choose none for each one of those, eventually they'll go away. Now there are other types of alerts you can set as well. So let's change this one to custom. And in addition to be able to set an exact time here, I can change the type of alert. So one is email. So I can set an email to be sent to me. So it's going to come from me to me, and I could have it be sent a certain amount of time before or after or at a specific time. I love this option because while I can easily miss a notification, I always check my email and I always try to keep my inbox clean. So when it's very important that I get an alert for an event, I use this email message. Make sure that I see it. But do note that it is easy to receive multiple emails for this, especially if you have more than one Mac and you have this set up on an iCloud calendar. It's just going to sync to your other Mac, and both Macs may or may not, depending on conditions, send you an email. But better to get 2 emails that I can easily delete than not remember the event. And of course there's no problem setting an email alert and then also setting a regular alert for an event. Now there's another type of alert, and that is Open File. But to use Open File you have to be using it on my Mac calendar. So it's not going to work here. Notice this calendar, my work calendar, is in iCloud. And opening a file isn't going to work if it's an iCloud calendar or a calendar from another cloud service like Google. So if you need to use that kind of thing on your Mac, you want to keep an On My Mac calendar around just for those events. These won't sync with your other devices, so you may need to actually set up a regular iCloud event in an iCloud calendar so you can see it, say, on your iPhone, but also set up an event on your On My Mac calendar that triggers this Open File alert. So I'm going to create an On My Mac calendar here just for this. I'm going to do that by selecting one of the calendars in Other, say US Holidays. And now when I go to create a new calendar, it will create it as an On My Mac calendar. This is locally stored and not synced to iCloud. I'm going to call it For Open File Alerts so it's clear what I'm using this for. And then with it selected, I'm going to add an event, and I can make sure that it is actually in that calendar. Set that up. Let's have it go here in a couple of minutes. And I'm going to go to Alert, Custom, and here I'm going to set it to Open File. By default it's going to be Calendar. So in other words what happens here is at the time of the notification the calendar app will open, which is really useful if you want to be able to then look at information about the event. But you could choose anything. Let's have this happen at the time of event, and instead of Calendar I'll choose Other, and then I'm going to go into my Documents folder and open up this info file and OK. So now I can quit Calendar and just be using my Mac normally, and when 9:24 hits you can see there it gave me the notification and it opened up the file. Now you can have it open up any file, which means an application as well. So you can have it open up an app, for instance. Now if you have it open up a file, it's going to open up that file in the default application for that file. If you choose an application rather than a file, it will open up that application. That could be useful, for instance, opening up a teleconferencing app to get ready to do a meeting. But you can also create complex things in, say, Automator. Save it as an app and then use that as the file that is then opened in Calendar. As a matter of fact, when you create something in Automator, one of the options you get is Calendar Alarm. So you could choose that and then create something. Let's create something simple here. So I've just added get specified URLs to get a location of a web page and display a web page. I'm going to save this, and it's going to say Save Calendar Alarm as Open MacMost Site. Now when I go into the Calendar app, you'll notice it has created a calendar event. And in that event it set up Open File at the time of the event. If I go to Custom I can see the file it's set to open is macmostsite.app, and it saved it into my Library Workflows Applications Calendar and put the app there. So it didn't do really anything special. I could have created the app, saved it somewhere, and then set this up in Calendar. But it did save me the time by creating this event. Note that it created a new calendar when I did that, one called Automator, to store the events that will trigger these Automator actions. It created the event for the exact time it is now. So I kind of have to go in now and maybe set it up for the actual date and time that I want instead of just the current time. Note you can get creative with open file as well. Instead of using that Automator action to open up a web page, I could simply be at a website and then drag that URL somewhere, say to a folder in my Documents folder. But I'll put it here in the desktop. And you can see this is a web location link to that site. So I'm going to go into the On My Mac calendar here. I'm going to change this event so that it triggers pretty soon. And I'm going to change it so that it opens a file. But this time it's going to open up that web location file, which is on my desktop there, like that at the time of the event. And now I should see that happen. And it should happen even if the calendar app isn't running. You can see there it triggered the notification and open up the web page. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.
So there you have it.
I use this feature on the bulletin board to actually not on the we use it on the bulletin board and the FileMaker server. So there's a calendar event every day. Quit FileMaker, copy the FileMaker database to Dropbox, restart FileMaker. The BBS, it says quit the mirror, which is mirrored to 2 drives at once. Quit the mirror, carbon copy cloner, run to another drive, and restart the mirror. So doing backups, closing the programs and doing backups and then restarting the program.
Very useful stuff if you want to use it. So I just saw that Verizon is thinking about monetizing Yahoo. Yahoo was purchased by Verizon a couple of years ago and incorporated into this whole mishmash of stuff that they bought, including AOL. And at that time, they named the company Oath, O-A-T-H. Now, apparently they've dropped that and now are calling it, I think, Verizon Audio Visual Properties. And now they're talking about changing it to Yahoo !Plus. And I read that they're talking about starting to charge for ad-free mail. I guess that's the one part of Yahoo that's still working pretty well, is all of their mail, although they've been hacked so much. I don't think I'd have much to do with it until they started developing some security for Yahoo. Not sure how safe it is, but that was a little disturbing to see that they're going to start selling what they used to give away. Reminds me of a party record I found one time when I was a kid that belonged to one of my uncles, who was a young man at the time and I was just a child. And it was a country western song that was titled, "And Now She's Selling What She Used to Give Away." And that sort of sounds like what Verizon is doing with Yahoo. So see, I've got a couple of files there. So I have nothing else to add to that.
Let me add something. Let me add something to the Yahoo stuff. I use Yahoo as my junk email. I give it out and then I get all my junk there, but my main email is Gmail. And what I did in my Yahoo, I never went into it, so I never saw the ads because I would have all the Yahoo email forwarded automatically to my Gmail. And then either the Yahoo would capture the junk mail or Gmail will capture junk mail, but I rarely ever saw junk mail on my inbox. Anyway, at the start of this year, they announced it end of last year, I think, but in January or beginning of February, they disabled that ability to forward email. So I can no longer forward my email from Yahoo to Gmail. So I have to go into it, or what I use mail.app on the iMac to look at my email, which I still don't see the junk mail, their email. But yeah, they're tying down the screws to try and get you. I think there was always like a Yahoo premium service, which had extra bells and whistles, which I never subscribed to. But now they're tying down the screws to try and get you to upgrade even more. And forwarding mail is quite a big loss for me, because that means I've got to check 2 different email boxes and manage 2 different email boxes.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a Yahoo junk mail thing too, but I never think to look at Yahoo.
Why not?
Much the same.
Why not set up another Gmail account for your junk mail?
Because like Yahoo is, I've had it for like years. I mean, like a long time. So that's the email address I give out. So a lot of my accounts and everything is all registered with that email address. So switching is, it would be a challenge. And I'd probably just switch everything to Gmail and just gradually decommission Yahoo, see what comes in and switch it and stuff. But for some reason, Yahoo used to get a lot of junk mail, but my junk mail folder is almost always empty on Yahoo. I don't know what happened, but for some reason, at the start of this year, they're getting really good at filtering out the junk mail. I get a lot more junk mail in Gmail now, even though I don't use it as much for emailing stuff as I do Yahoo.
It seems like spammers have just figured out keywords to put into an email to evade the Gmail filters. For instance, if they put the word confirmation in there, it goes through. So I get all this garbage that says confirmation or your account or certain words like that.
Mm-hmm.
The bad news is on AN server and on the BBS, I see lots of spam coming from Gmail, originating from Gmail, and you can't block the Gmail server. And I don't know how they're getting around it. A lot of it gets caught by the spam filter, and I see it, but it's gone way up. I don't know why people have realized that they can make accounts there easy and send mail out of Gmail and it won't get blocked because Google servers are trusted, to not be sending spam. That's not the case anymore.
AOL used to have a load of spam, and that seems to have dropped off substantially recently.
Yeah,
I still get a load of spam even on Gmail now. I dumped Yahoo a long time ago, but it sorts it out pretty good, and I just go to the junk thing and I say select all and I delete. Takes 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's pretty good about catching spam. I wish they would set up a filter to not allow sending spam, but I don't know. It's like, this is a new phenomenon. Because usually I can block the server, but you can't block Gmail because can't block Google. They know that.
Yeah.
That's why they're using it.
Rick, were you going to talk to us about a program that was similar?
Mac Paint, a paint program. You said you were going
to tell
us.
We
didn't see that.
I didn't see it either. Let's see if I can find it again.
You had it in your list of topics.
Yeah. Let's go back to March 23rd.
That was Gary Rosenzweig MacMost video about it.
Yeah, is there a paint program?
He actually missed the one that I use.
Yeah, you were going to talk about Acorn and then
Pixel Meter Pro.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to do?
In Infinity, there's Infinity. There's one from Infinity with an A. Affinity. There's Affinity Draw.
Affinity. AFFINITY.
Affinity Draw, and there's a painting program and then a drawing program, I think, from them.
Let's find this guy. Okay, I'm going to go back. I'm going to the website. I don't know how, but it got edited out. That's really strange. So let's go here and go to,
Yeah, it was this last week, I think. It was pretty.
here it is.
I watched it. It was good.
Here we go.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. The question for today, is there a Paint app on your Mac? MacMost is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 900 supporters. Go to MacMost.com/Patreon. There you can read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So the question is often asked, is there a Paint app on your Mac? In other words, is there an app that you can open up an image with and edit the pixels or draw something on a blank canvas? And while the answer is no, there's no dedicated Paint app that comes with your Mac, there are several apps that you can use to edit images and draw. And there are a variety of apps that you can get in the Mac App Store that allow you to edit images, draw, and some of them are even free. So first, let's say you have an image here and you just want to edit it. There's an app on your Mac that allows you to do some editing, and it's called Preview. And it's what you get by default. When you double click on the file to open it, you'll open it up in Preview. Now in Preview you can go to Tools, and in here you can do things like adjust color, and then you have a variety of ways to adjust the colors in the image. You could also go to adjust size, and this allows you to resize the image. If your goal is to simply convert the image, you can go to File and then Export, and then from there you can choose a variety of standard formats. And you can also mark up the image using this tool here, and now you have a variety of things, including the ability to draw on the image, add text, boxes, lines, all sorts of things. You can even make selections, so you can select something, copy and paste it, or clear the image in that area. So while you can't really draw and do the things you would expect to do in an image editor, you can do some basic things that may mean that this is the only tool that you need. On the other hand, if the image is in the Photos app, then there are a lot of tools in the Photos app that allow you to do things. It's still not a Paint tool. You can't actually edit the pixels, but you can go to Edit, and you have the ability to make adjustments. So you have lots of light and color adjustments here. You can apply filters, and you can crop and rotate the image. And you can also in Photos export the image to convert it into a variety of different formats. But what about a real graphics app? Something that allows you to edit an image, change the pixels, draw on it, and create something from scratch. Well, of course, the king of all the apps is Photoshop. But Photoshop is fairly expensive. But there are some great apps in the App Store that don't cost nearly as much. So the first one I want to mention is Acorn. Acorn's a great image editor that costs $30 in the Mac App Store. Here's what it looks like, and you can see there's a variety of tools, the things you would expect to see in a graphics app. It has all of the basics and then some. It's not the most full-featured app, but it also is probably the easiest to get into. I find when I want to do something quick, I go to Acorn. Now a higher end app is Pixelmator Pro. You can get this in the Mac App Store for $40. There's a pretty comprehensive set of tools in Pixelmator Pro, and of course there are also versions of it for the iPhone and iPad. It's definitely the most popular choice of Mac users for a graphics app. In fact, I use it every day to make the thumbnails for the MacMost videos and for a variety of other things. Another popular choice is Affinity Photo, which costs $25 in the Mac App Store. Affinity Photo has an excellent set of tools for manipulating photographs. One downside though is that most of the graphics creation tools are actually in another app called Affinity Designer. So Affinity Photo and Affinity Designer work really well as a pair, and I use both of them. Matter of fact, I love using Affinity Designer to design graphics for my games. In a way, this is more similar to how Adobe does things with Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator. But what if you don't want to pay anything for an app? Well, there's actually an app in the App Store. It's been around for a long time, and not only is it pretty good as an image editor, but it's probably the most similar thing to a Paint type app that you'll find. It's called Seashore. And here's what Seashore looks like. It's a much more basic tool than Pixelmator, Affinity, or Acorn. But it does feel a lot more like an old-fashioned painting app. And if you only occasionally need to be able to edit the pixels in an image or create a graphic, this may be the tool that you need since it doesn't cost anything. And there's one more one I want to mention. If you really like Photoshop and you want to stick with Photoshop, but you don't want to pay the monthly subscription to Adobe, maybe you just don't use it often enough, there is Photoshop Element. That's available in the Mac App Store, and Adobe updates it just about every year. You can get it for $80. It's still more expensive than any of those other tools I mentioned, but a lot cheaper than getting the full subscription to Adobe's Creative Cloud. So which one's the best one for you? Well, it really depends on your situation. Pros are probably going to still stick with full Photoshop because it's what their colleagues and their clients use, and they need that compatibility, and they need all the different tools that Photoshop has. But also a lot of pros have left Photoshop to use either Affinity Photo and Designer or Pixelmator Pro. But if you just want to be able to adjust images, crop them, export them, I would try to stick with the Photos app already on your Mac or just use Preview. And if you want to have a little fun with graphics every once in a while on your Mac and you don't need all the features in those other apps, give Seashore a try. But those aren't the only choices. If you're using something else and you really like it, let me know in the comments below.
The Affinity applications have gotten rave reviews. And the interesting thing about their equivalent of InDesign, I forget what they called it, and their photography program is that they're compatible with the Adobe formats. So if you've been working with, say, InDesign, you can import an InDesign document right into the Affinity document. Yeah, Janet, go ahead. You're muted.
Pressing the space bar didn't unmute me.
You have to press and hold it.
I did, but it didn't work. Anyway, does that mean they are in the same format as Affinity and Photoshop, or you have to convert it back and forth?
I think once you drag it in, well, I have to say I don't know, but I would suspect that if you say take a PSID document from Photoshop and drag it onto the Affinity icon, it'll open and you can edit it. But I wouldn't be a bit surprised that Affinity doesn't save it as their own format. Now, perhaps like Pages, you can select or LibreOffice, you can select what format you want to save it in once you've done your work. I don't know. Does anybody own the Affinity software?
I was able from time to time. Rick, you bought Photoshop Elements for half price last year, and I bought it this year. It was on sale.
Yeah.
One day only.
I keep buying that stuff.
$45. So that's the real deal.
Yeah, they just had Photoshop Elements 2021 on sale for $45.
Yeah, one day only. I got it.
One day only.
If you don't mind subscriptions, you can get Photoshop and Lightroom for $10 a month. Although I have both, but sometimes
what's that come out to a year?
It's what?
$120 a year, right?
Yeah. I use Elements a lot because it automates some of the stuff you have to do manually in Photoshop.
Right.
Yeah.
Chris put a link for Paintbrush, which is a simple paint program.
Yeah.
And I put in a link to a whole list on Mac Update of cheap and free simple paint programs. Some of which look pretty nice.
When I saw Gary's video, I was a little bit disappointed that all of his paint applications were at a higher level than I wanted to use. When I go simple, I want super simple, like Windows Paint. I don't know if you use that before the Mac.
And none of his paint programs were paint programs. They were all image editing programs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been using Paintbrush for years. I mean, literally years, and it is so simple, super simple. I don't have to try and figure out how to use it. I know how to use it because it's just so simple, and it's free, and it just works. And it's what I use for like pixel editing of images and stuff. You zoom in on the pixels and you edit little pixels and stuff, and that's all I want, and it's perfect. But even even Acorn and stuff, when I get into Acorn, I'm like, all right, how do I do what in this? Because it's like I start up like once every few months and I'm trying to figure it out. But Paintbrush, I have no problems with because it is so simple.
What is it? Is it like the old?
Corel still makes paint, their support is abominable.
Is Paintbrush like the old Claris Works?
Mac Paint.
Oh, it's like Mac Paint.
It's like Mac Paint. There you go, Mac Paint.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
It's
was
a
that was kind
it's a
of fun.
It's a pixel
Yeah,
editor.
it's so simple. It's fun.
I had
There's
so much.
just enough.
I still vividly remember, and I actually still have some documents that I created in Mac Paint on my Mac SE in 1987. And I just had so much fun making things like flyers for a Halloween party and printing them on my image writer. It was hilarious.
Wait a minute. The SE didn't come out until what, 89, right?
No,
Wasn't it a Mac
87.
Plus or a 512?
No, the SE, my Mac SE was 87, I believe.
Was it?
I think so.
Okay.
I could be, you might be right.
Okay. It's not important. But yeah, it was great. I don't know why they still didn't bring it up forward. In fact, when I was doing some consulting work, I had an author, she was a pamphleteer, I think, who had a nice new Mac, but she still kept her old 512 KE and insisted on using Mac Write to do all of her authoring. And that was her thing. And I guess Tom Clancy did the same thing when he was writing his books. He always used his Mac SE. And then I think he moved to an SE30 eventually, but that's all he would ever use because it had a good keyboard.
And if you wanted to upgrade, you could go to Right Now.
Oh yeah, that was a lovely
Great
word processor.
I still think
Yeah,
the old WordPerfect for Mac was the best word processor that I've seen.
ever made.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And at that time, they used to have free support, and they had Mac support, they had Windows support. I didn't hear what the comment was. Or somebody's mic was open and they didn't mean to be copied. Anyway, yeah, WordPerfect was pretty good. I still have a package of WordPerfect with all the manuals. If anybody wants it, it won't run on the new Macs.
But I found a program that will open WordPerfect files.
LibreOffice will.
Yeah.
LibreOffice will open WordPerfect for DOS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's actually an app made to open the WordPerfect files. LibreOffice will even open Right Now files.
It'll open
Wang files.
Yeah, it opens about anything.
And yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Next week, I have a lengthy video, probably about 17 minutes long, but I think it's going to be on a very interesting subject of VPNs.
Too long.
It's too long? You don't want me to show it?
18 minutes. And it's also, I started looking at it, I looked at the whole thing, it's sponsored by Malwarebytes. It's an interview with the Malwarebytes guy.
Yes.
And he only talks about, supposedly only talks about one program, not only like it's a commercial.
Oh, okay.
Did you watch
we won't
it?
do that then. Not completely. I skimmed through it.
Yeah, I will put a link to it and say, I don't think that's too long. Maybe a 5-minute video on VPNs, but not 18 minutes.
I will put that video back in the presentation on the paint thing, even though it's a little disappointing. I'll put it back in. I don't know how it got deleted. When I hit a save or something, I may have preliminarily deleted that because it was in there to begin with. So for that, I apologize.
I like
those
that Tech Talk America guy. His videos are pretty good, but his whole channel is sponsored by Malwarebytes. And like when he recommended Malwarebytes, he recommended that people pay for it because he's sponsored by them. He's getting money from those people. So.
And he also does.
Al is raising his hand.
Okay, Al. Go for it.
Last week, John was talking about the repair to the screen on the Mac. and you were gonna come up with a solution. Have you done anything about it yet?
I got some new strips that are supposed to be Apple strips. I'm gonna try those this Thursday, and I got some plastic, they're called binder bars to clip on the edge of the screen. I haven't tried those yet. We're gonna see how that works. You put yours has.
This. I got some new strips too, Al, for supposedly genuine Apple stuff, but we'll see how it works.
Okay.
Did you put the tape on?
I'm still using tape.
Yeah, paint is fine for now. The clip, if you want to try, I'm going to see with these binder bars how they work on Thursday.
Look at Kathleen. Look at Kathleen.
Well, she put some arrows and everything.
She put the tape on hers. On got the gaffer's tape on the whole.
She got the gaffer's tape. Yeah, man, I've been using a lot of.
Yeah, I put some tape in that same spot on my machine, Kathleen.
Say, Al,
and
I'm curious. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thursday, I'm going to be replacing the screen on a 27-inch at the office. The source of the tape that we're going to use on that screen is the most expensive one I've seen, and it's from iFixit. It's $20 for the tape, but it had a nice thick feel to it. So we'll see how that works. But we're going to do that at the office Thursday.
Okay, so stay tuned, and we'll get a.
You have, Al. You have the only 3M tape that I tried. So your tape is completely different. I'm not worried about the 3M tape failing.
Oh, okay. But the screen is a little askew. It's not.
Yeah, it's very hard to get it in there exactly straight on the bottom, locked in.
Okay.
So yeah, also removing the screen, we had a 27-inch that we were removing the screen, and it was very stuck at the bottom. And I heard something grind a little bit. And after we got it out successfully, I see that the lower left corner of the screen has been chipped. And I think I'm going to have to take a carborundum stone to that to eliminate the jaggedness, because I don't want that to grow into a crack.
Yeah.
So Al, I'm very curious about the bookshelf behind you. Is that meant to be hung on a wall?
Well, yes, it's all wall mounted. I have two others as well.
Where did you get it? I'm very
Oh, they were all custom made.
Oh, okay.
As is the desk.
Did you mount that with iFixit tape?
No, it was a carpenter who did it all for me.
It's very nice.
Many years ago. Okay, I'm gonna.
We'll know this week. Rick's gonna do his. Don Chu isn't here today, is he?
No.
He was earlier.
No. Yes, I am.
Oh, Don.
Oh, are you?
Are you
I'm
here?
here.
Thursday, if you want to bring your wife's iMac to the office, yours is starting to separate, and you didn't tell me. You put some tape on there on your own. You noticed it, right?
Yeah, well, she the one that told me that the top.
Yeah, so yours is failing.
Well, I put a tape double back. I put a clear tape over it on the top, so that kind of temporarily stopped it. I didn't think about it until somebody in the meeting mentioned it, and I said I should mention mine too then.
Yeah, absolutely. So I ordered 2 sets of the strips that are supposedly Apple OEM.
Okay.
Whether they are or not, I don't know. But they were so cheap on eBay. They were cheaper than everybody else's too. I got 2 sets of them delivered for $13. Rick's was 20 for 1. So what I'm thinking is
no, mine, not mine, but the one from iFixit was $20.
Right.
This one was $6 from eBay.
Well, that's the one I got.
This is from a different vendor, though. I thought I was ordering from your vendor, but this one is called EPAC Group from El Monte, California.
That was not his name.
Yeah, no, yours
and
was
only
like
because that guy had sold other stuff, and all he had for sale was Apple parts, original new
Well,
Apple parts.
On this sale, I specified that I didn't want it if it wasn't Apple.
We'll
So
see. We'll
we'll
compare
see.
them. We'll
Yeah.
see. Well, my theory is they were so cheap, I bought two because one was like, I forget, $8, and the second one was another $4. So I said, well, just give me two of them. So I'll put them in Don's.
Okay.
Put it in, and then immediately cut it out, and see if it comes apart like the Apple original. Because the Apple original is completely different the way it comes apart. If it comes apart the same as the original, then I'll know it's the original. If not, then they're all the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want me to bring it in Thursday then?
Yeah, I think that will work.
About what time?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay, just
I'll let you know.
Just text me.
We'll find out if these are the real deal.
Yeah, that's fine.
If not, I'm of the opinion that even if they are the real deal, and these little plastic binder bar strips that go on each edge of the screen.
Oh.
Yeah, they're going to be called the.
I'm gonna leave them on there anyway. I don't want the
Memorial
thing-
stickers.
Was that?
I said we're going to title those the Ann Griffin Memorial stickers. Because they're so artistic.
Do that, Ann.
So we'll see on
Ann
Thursday
thought they
whether
were
how this
horrible.
works.
So
We'll figure
maybe
it
this
out.
is the new, maybe this is a new subscription model of hardware.
Yeah.
Where it's good for 2 months and then you have to.
Oh no, they usually fall out sooner than that.
Yeah.
What the hell kind of answer is that? I couldn't.
Honest.
That's terrible. That's just terrible.
Yeah, and I was gonna, when I heard about this on Amazon, some of the reviews said, "Oh, the screen falls out." I said, "Well, maybe we don't want to buy them from them. Maybe we should buy them from Max Sales." Oh, geez. I think it's possible that it only affects, or it's a worse effect on the 27 inches than the smaller ones. I'm not
Really?
sure.
I wondered about that, John. I wondered.
I gotta Google some more on the reviews about. iFixit has reviews and Amazon has reviews. They both have this that report the same story. But I got to see if there are any reports on the 21. Maybe the 21s aren't a problem. I don't know. The 27s are considerably heavier.
Yeah, right. This was bigger.
They're heavy.
Right.
So 21s are just featherweights.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kenji's playing with
What are you doing
filters
to your
again.
picture?
Look at, oh yeah, I like the clown better, but it's not as good as Mr. Potato Head earlier.
All right, kids.
That's
Should we
it.
stop? Should we stop the recording and?
We're having too much fun.
Yeah. Okay. This is not part of the meeting then. Okay. So I'm going to stop the recording. Wave bye-bye.